Every Friday, we bring you our Reporter Roundtable, where we get you up to date on the news that made headlines during the week. Be sure to join our panel of reporters by subscribing and listening to the Idaho Matters podcast every Friday, wherever you get your podcasts.
From Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector, Idaho's daily news. Good morning, I'm James Dawson. It's Friday, April 11th, and here are today's headlines. A federal judge extended a temporary restraining order yesterday, preventing Idaho police from charging unauthorized people for the crime of illegal entry. House Bill 83 allows state law enforcement agencies to check someone's immigration status if they're detained or suspected of a crime. Paul Southwick from the ACLU of Idaho, one of the plaintiffs in the case, says the law is too vague.
And you have a right under the Constitution to know what the law means if it's being used against you.
Plaintiffs also argue the law goes against the Supremacy Clause of the U.S. Constitution, which says federal law supersedes state law.
But under these new state crimes, you can be brought into court and prosecuted even if you have a pending asylum application under federal law.
The ruling doesn't affect requirements that local law enforcement work with federal immigration authorities. The block will remain while the judge considers a preliminary injunction. In an emailed statement, Attorney General Raul Labrador wrote, quote, "We will continue to defend the law in full in the courts," end quote. Citing the provisions in the law that weren't blocked, Labrador said the hearing reinforced Idaho's authority to protect public safety. The Idaho State Board of Education is getting a new executive director. Governor Brad Little announced yesterday that Jennifer White will be the agency's new leader after Joshua Whitworth left for a job in the private sector. White has worked at Boise State University since 2023 as its assistant vice president for finance and operations. She's also senior counsel to the university. She previously worked for former Governor Dirk Kempthorne and then Lieutenant Governor Jim Risch before working as a litigator in the Washington, D.C. area. Little also announced he appointed Kurt Liebeck as the state board's new president after Linda Clark's term expired. Little first appointed Liebeck to the board in 2019. The public can now see how Idaho school districts spend their money and pay their staff. The Idaho Capital Sun reports the data is now available on Transparent Idaho. The Idaho Comptroller's Office has published state employment information and other data points on the free website since 2012. Anyone can now see enrollment figures, salary data, and transactions by each public school, the districts, and charter schools. State Controller Brandon Wolf told the Capital Sun he hopes to add further data visualization tools to help people make apple-to-apple comparisons with the information. A new federal effort aims to end homelessness among people released from prisons. As the Mountain West News Bureau's Hannah Merzbach reports, communities in Wyoming and Idaho and a tribe in Montana are part of the initiative.
One team is in Wyoming's Natrona County. It's the top destination for parolees in the state since there's a lot of reentry services there. But it's still hard to get long-term housing.
We definitely see an influx of individuals who come here for assistance and who don't qualify for as much as they think.
But Natrona's Christy Oster, who's leading the project under the U.S. Bureau of Justice Assistance, says people released from prisons could soon get permanent housing and other help like career services. So far, there's no funding involved, but Oster says monthly meetings with federal experts keep them on track to eventually build the housing.
Is it data that's next? Is it partnerships that is next? Is it getting the city together to determine if there's land available?
Idaho's Department of Corrections and the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes in Montana are also working on similar initiatives. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Hannah Merzbach.
The Boise train depot is turning 100. The station overlooking downtown with its iconic bell tower and Mission Revival-style architecture is marking the event with a 4-day celebration. Julie Lucetta has more.
It's been a century since crowds gathered at the Boise Depot to watch the first passenger train arrive into town.
When that first train rolled in on April 16th, 1925, it drew thousands of people, and Boise was a much smaller place at the time.
Parks and Recreation's Bonnie Shelton is hoping the centennial celebration captures the excitement of the train station's opening ceremony.
Coming through Boise and being a connection to places in the East, in the West, it was a big deal. And so you've maybe seen some of those pictures of the Apple Blossom Girls and just the fanfare from that day.
The last passenger train came through the depot in 1997. Shelton says the celebration is also a way to check in with the community about what it would mean to reopen a passenger rail line.
Hopefully in the next 100 years, when they're celebrating the 200th anniversary, there is that rail option and utilization of the depot as it once was.
Festivities kick off this Sunday at 11 with food, local vendors, historical tours, an art installation, and of course, model trains. Julie Duqueta, Boise State Public Radio News.
And the Idaho Steelheads hope to fight their way back into the ECHL playoffs tonight after Wednesday night's loss to Kansas City Mavericks. The Tulsa Oilers demolished the Allen Americans on Wednesday to leapfrog the Steelheads by 1 game. Both teams have 2 games left in their regular season as they vie for that final playoff spot in the Western Conference. The Steelheads are now 2-2 against Kansas City this season. The Mavericks are the top-seeded team in the conference and ranked 3rd across the entire league. The puck drops both tonight and tomorrow at 7:10 p.m. at Idaho Central Arena. And that's today's episode of The Connector. I'm James Dawson. We'll see you back here Monday. To stay in touch with the news between now and then, check out boisestatepublicradio.org or download the free Boise State Public Radio app. Thanks for listening.